Hello folks, this is Sula speaking. You're listening to another video for Teamfight Tactics. This is taken from the Set 10 revival. Set 10 come back again since I don't think too much of Set 14. And in this particular game we're going to be looking at a Pentakill team composition featuring Karthus. Some of you know Karthus is my all-time favorite champion from normal League of Legends, so it's always fun anytime I get a chance to play him. He's only been in 2 sets. He was in Set 1, and then he also popped up here again in Set 10. Has not been in any of the other sets, so only 2 out of 14 sets. It's kind of wild that he hasn't been more popular, but I guess he's just not that popular of a champion in League of Legends. Don't even look at how many sets champions like Yasuo and Ezreal have been in. Yeah, they show up a lot. Alright, as far as our encounter at the start of the game, we get the one that means that hacks are going to be showing up, and I kind of wish that the set revival did not have these. Hacks are the mechanic for the current mainline set, set 14, and they're not really that interesting. They're not particularly well balanced. The hacks essentially mean that you will have things showing up that are going to cause additional gameplay effects, additional augments that you wouldn't normally be able to get, additional loot drops. It's just basically going to be more crazy loot nonsense in a way that I do not particularly care for. But there's nothing we can do about that. Starting with what? I think it was either set 12 or set 13. They took out the ability to vote on the... I think it was set 13. They took out the ability to vote on what would happen in the game, and now it just gets assigned to you, so I guess that's it. I guess you just have no control anymore. Alright, now as far as what's going on in terms of my team composition, I had a Garen drop from the initial minion round, and then I had a Big Shot Corki pop up in my store, so I saw that, I was like, you know what, I can play this. I'll just look to play 8-bit plus Big Shot, and we can probably play like 4 Big Shot, 4 8-bit, and then just round it out with a bunch of other units. I was like, that sounds like it would be fun to do, so I figured I would just go ahead and try that. And then we ended up getting our first augment here, and I see that there's a couple different options here. The one that interests me the most is Tactician's Kitchen. Gain a random emblem after 6-player combats, gain a Tactician's Cape. And what does it turn out that the emblem is? It's a Pentakill emblem. And I was like, oh, okay, well that is not what I was planning on playing. But, you know, the game's giving me direction here. Okay, we'll do a Pentakill game. Why not? I really like this augment because it gives you 2 things simultaneously. Number one, it gives you an emblem, and then you can play the rest of your game around what the emblem might be. And then on top of that, you get a Tactician's, I guess this is Tactician's Cape, but it's basically the same thing as the Tactician's Crown. There's 3 different versions of them now. It gives you +1 team size. Like, you literally get an emblem and +1 team size. Now, of course, you don't get to control what the emblem is, but if you're getting the emblem on 2-1, you can pretty easily build your whole team around it. I'd be more skeptical about taking this on, like, the 3-2 augment. But for the very first augment of the game, I mean, you can, you know, 2-1, I can build, you know, you can build your team in whatever direction you want from here. So, even though I was not planning on going into Pentakill, and I had basically no Pentakill champs whatsoever, I'm happy to take that, and I'll just start building my team composition towards a Pentakill team composition. That's one that I typically don't play a whole lot. And by the way, look at how many Corkis I'm getting. I think I would already be up to like 6 or 7 Corkis. So that game plan that never actually ended up happening could have been pretty good, I suppose. But whatever, I can't go into an 8-bit plus Big Shot team composition with a Pentakill emblem. I would have to rely on being able to reforge that, and it could easily reforge into something else useless. So no, I have to go the Pentakill direction. Again, I typically do not play Pentakill team compositions because they play through mostly melee carries, and I've always struggled a bit more playing through melee carries in TFT than the more traditional front-to-back team compositions. If you're looking to play Pentakill, you're really looking to play through a couple different 4-cost units. There are 2 different 4-cost units in Pentakill. It's one of those big vertically scaling traits here in the set. Unfortunately, I win this round. I'm able to get up to 10 gold. You have 2 4-costs. You have Viego, who is, as I said, a melee carry, and then you also have Karthus. The 2 of them need to work together in a team composition because Karthus is not really like a mainline carry. Karthus is, by the way, there's another Corki and a Misfortune that I could have played too. Karthus is not a mainline carry. He's a great secondary carry, but Karthus can't really be your main carry because he doesn't really kill units very well. He's good at like chipping down units, but he spreads out his damage across multiple targets. He will finish off units that are already low. but he can't really like carry entire fights by himself. So you really have to play through Karthus and Viego. And then on top of that, you typically play through Akali as well, because Viego has Executioner trait, and then Akali also has Executioner trait, which means that they pair together really well. By the way, look at this board. This person's, I don't know what this person's doing. They have one unit on the board. I guess they're going for an econ start, but like they're not that rich. They're level 420 gold. I'm level 418 gold. It's like they're not that rich. But anyway, I'll take the free win for this round. So like I said, Pentakill, you're typically playing a vertical Pentakill board. You do want to get up to Pentakill 7 if at all possible, because Pentakill 7 is a lot better than Pentakill 5. I'll cover what Pentakill 7 does in a minute. And then you're really looking to play Karthus, Viego, Akali, and your team's based around them. If you can get Mordekaiser 3-star, Mordekaiser's a 3-cost frontliner in a Pentakill team composition. He can be a very reliable frontline tank, but he does need to be 3-starred. Alternately, you do also get Yorick, who's the 5-cost Pentakill unit. He's a frontliner too, although he's kind of a mixture of damage and tankiness as opposed to a pure tank. Problem with that is Yorick is a 5-cost unit, so you're not going to see him until very, very late. So 3-star, if you can 3-star Mordekaiser, it's not bad, but it's kind of be a little tricky to do that. I am going to be looking to push to level 8 and then try to build a team composition around those 3 4-cost units, Akali and Karthus and Viego. And remember, I have the Pentakill emblem, so I can very, very easily take the Akali when I find her and just slap a Pentakill emblem on her, and boom, all of a sudden, I've got Pentakill Akali. So she's a really, really good target to put the Pentakill emblem on. By the way, here I find a Kale, so I'm actually going to double level to level 5 in the hopes of keeping a winning streak alive. And I will put in the Kale because that actually puts Pentakill trait in play. I do not have an Olaf, who's the 1-cost Pentakill unit. I actually did have an Olaf in my store earlier, but I did not think that I'd be playing the Olaf at that time. I was going to go into the Corki team composition. Here, I was thinking about moving the Pentakill emblem to the Corki because it would cause him to do more damage, but ultimately I keep it on the Lilia because she does get damage reduction. So, what does Pentakill trait do? I'll go ahead and read the official description here. Pentakill champions gain 15% durability and 15% damage amp. So that's the base thing, is the units all get durability, which is damage reduction. That's why I have the emblem on the Lilia, because I figured that having that damage reduction was more valuable on her. And then also 15% damage amp. So pretty basic damage reduction and damage amplification. All units get 15% of each who have the Pentakill trait. Now, in addition to that, for each champion kill, a Pentakill champion rocks out, increasing its damage amp by 25%. So Pentakill gets stronger as the fights go on. For each champion kill, Pentakill champion rocks out and increases its damage amp. In addition, on the 5th kill, all Pentakill champions rock out and your team gains 50% attack speed. So that's a pretty big increase. If you get 5 kills, the whole team, or all Pentakill units, gain 50% attack speed. So like I said, as they kill more champions, they get more damage amp. And if you can kill 5, then all surviving Pentakill units will gain 50% attack speed. So as I said, it's a bit of a stall trait in a way. It's like you want to stall the fights out long enough to get up to those 5 kills, and then your team's going to get stronger and stronger as that goes along. So as I said, they can be deceptively difficult to deal with if the fight ends up going long. Then as you play deeper into the trait, you get more increasing damage amp. You can see it's 15%. At Pentakill 3, my past self helpfully had that highlighted there. So 15% at Pentakill 3 goes to 30% at Pentakill 5, goes to 7, or 45% at Pentakill 7. If you can get Pentakill 10 in, then all Pentakill units get 50% durability and 99% damage amp, which is ridiculous. But that requires getting double emblems and having a Pentakill headliner, because there's only 7 Pentakill units. So you have to get the headliner, that gets you to 8, and then 2 emblems, which gets you to 10. So it's kind of tricky to get there. I have 1 Pentakill emblem already. If I can somehow make a second one, I could look to try to play Pentakill 10 if I had a Pentakill headliner. But it's hard to get emblems in this game mode. All right, I also have to figure out something with my items. You might have noticed I have items in like kind of random spots because I didn't quite like any of the things that I had. I'm trying. And by the way, there's my tactician's cape coming in. Doesn't really do anything except if I put it on a unit, it is 10% odds to drop 1 gold after, I think, 10 seconds of combat. So I'm trying to figure out where I want to put these items. As far as items I want to make, I'm looking to itemize, again, Viego, Karthus, and Akali. Viego and Akali are both physical melee damage dealers. Their itemization's pretty similar on the whole. They both want to have some kind of a healing item, and they'd also like to have something that amplifies their damage. So I've gone ahead and made the Hand of Justice, which I think is going to be a solid item that can go on Akali, that can go on Viego. Viego in particular would really, really like an Edge of Night because he tends to get focused in fights. Akali doesn't need that as much. It's not a bad item on her, but she doesn't need it as much because she dashes around, which gives her an aggression drop. But Viego really, really wants an Edge of Night, so I might be looking to make that. I actually realized I probably should have taken, I took a cloak off the last carousel. Probably should have taken a vest because that could have been half of like Edge of Night. It also could have been a Titans with the bow that I have. All right, we get our second augment, and it's prismatic again. So this is now double prismatic augments, and I was like, oh boy. We've got these hacks that are going to give us additional econ, plus it's a double prismatic, and anytime the first two augments are prismatic, there's actually good odds the third augment's going to be prismatic too. I wasn't sure what to take here. I thought about taking I'm the Carry Now. That would give me a golem, but I decided to take Invested instead. It's going to give me 26 gold. And that's going to take me up to 80 gold here. Now, the specific advantage of this is at the start of each round, gain 1 shop reroll for every 10 gold above 50. So yeah, for every 10 gold above 50, you can get a shop refresh at the start of the next round. It does cap out at 80 gold. So basically, if you're taking this, you kind of want to stay above 80 gold if possible. Now, obviously, that's tough to do because you are giving up the benefits of a prismatic combat augment for something that only gives you economic power, and you always have to be a little bit careful when you take the econ-based prismatics because you are down a prismatic relative to the rest of the lobby. That said, this is a great, and I mean a great spot to be taking this from. I was already able to hit 80 gold just off the extra gold that I picked up from the augment. Like, I think I was at 50 gold, and it gave me another 26 gold, and it basically took me right up to 80. So now I can just level normally, and I can just pick up free rerolls as it goes on. And they don't have to be used right away. By the way, I also get insane luck. I get an Ari at 2% odds, then I get a Karthus at 2% odds too. That's wild. I mean, I'm only level 5. I'm not like level 7 here, so that's pretty crazy. I also really should have just kept both units and played the Karthus and the Ari. Ari doesn't fit my board in the least, but I was just going to put her on the board because why not? Why not just play her? So I definitely could have kept her on the board and played her as well, but I did not do that. I kind of forgot to do that. But I will level to level 6 here, in part because I want to increase my shop odds. And I will put the Karthus on the board, and that gets me to 4 Pentakill. Now, if I can just find Mordekaiser or Olaf, I'll be looking much, much better here. I definitely did need to level so that I could play the additional unit, because I would like to keep my win streak going. I don't really expect my win streak to keep going. By the way, nice Karthus ult there. Managed to hit 3 units. But you can see he does split the damage across multiple targets, so he's really not good at focus firing enemies down. As I said, I'm not really expecting to win these rounds. I don't think my board is that great, but it turns out that most of the lobby is playing super greedy too. Like, a whole bunch of the lobby is just playing super duper greedy. So a lot of other people are just going pure econ, and that means I can kind of go pure econ as well here. It does mean I'm last pick on this carousel. I would not mind taking the Akali, because that would allow me to then just move that Pentakill emblem over to the Akali. I don't really want the bow, but I could probably make do with it if I have to. Again, I would probably most like to get the sword here, because that would let me make a Bloodthirster, which is going to be really nice on either Viego or Akali later on. Probably even better on Viego than Akali, but it's good on both of them. And I was like, all right, no one wants an Ari? Okay, right now in the set revival, people, Ari is like super popular. People play KDA in like lots and lots of boards. So I was really surprised that stuck around to the end, but it did, and I'll just play the Ari over the extra Kale. So even though I kind of made that mistake, now now I'm able to get the Ari to come right back again off the carousel. Again, Ari does not fit the board, but I might as well play her. All right, so I'm going to shift some of these items over to Quirky. Remember, I still have the Quirky headliner on my board. I'm going to have to transition out of that, but I want to try to get to level 8, and then on level 8, I'll see what I can do in terms of finding a Pentakill headliner of some kind. Again, I'm willing to be flexible. I want one of 3 headliners. I want an Akali headliner, I want a Karthus headliner, or I want a Viego headliner. And I can make any of them work. If I can get Pentakill from like Karthus or Viego, that'll be nice. That means it'll be easy to play 7 Pentakill. If I would get Executioner on Akali or on Karthus, that would be fine too. I could play 4 Executioners. I could just shove like a Vex or Samira on the board and play 4 Executioners. If I would get Edgelord from Viego, that's great. I would just put Viego. I would just have Edgelord trait in play because there's an internal Edgelord synergy in the Pentakill trait, because the Viego has Edgelord trait, and in addition to that, Viego also has, Viego has it, and Kale has it. Excuse me, Kale and Viego both have Edgelord trait, so you have that internal synergy there. I also did manage to find an Olaf at the end of that last round. I had missed him in the shop, and then I was suddenly like, oh, Olaf. So I will take out the Ahri and hold on to the Olaf. And I'm really hoping I can win this round because I'm on full win streak. I won 9 rounds in a row. I did manage to get the 5 Pentakill in. And it does feel weird taking out a 4-cost Ahri to play a 1-cost 1-star Olaf. But it did make 5 Pentakill. I think it was actually better here. I think that was actually an upgrade for my board. So we're up against a Heartsteel player. I was glad. There's one other player who's win streaking who's on 97 HP. And if I had hit them, I'm pretty confident I would have lost. I believe they're playing a Punk reroll board, although I'd have to look back at that. But I'm pretty sure I would have lost that round. But I win against this player because they're doing some Heartsteel cash out nonsense. And that is going to allow me to take that full win streak. 80 gold in the bank, 10 match winning streak. And look, I've already saved up 12 rerolls here. Again, those are rerolls I get for free. I'm just going to go to level 8 and then I'll try to find my headliner, find my board there. So yeah, we'll continue to play the Corki, and I get Superfan trade in here, which I was not expecting to have happen. But you know, I have to play the Gnar because I want him for Pentakill trait. I've been playing Lilia because she was my first 2-star frontliner. She's still in there as my first 2-star frontliner, and then I just grabbed the random Nico off the bench. And that's going to allow me to get Superfan in, so Corki gets a Deathblade. Sure, why not? Why not? There's another Corki in my Corki in my store, so I could have had 3-star Corki in really easily. I'm up to 100 gold in the bank, by the way, and I accidentally over level here. I should have stopped at 80, but I have managed to save up an awful lot of this. I'm also going to go ahead and make the Warmogs. I want at least some frontline items. And I have this sword here. I wasn't sure what to do with this. I decided I'd hold on to it. Now that I have the Karthus on my board, I'd really like to get a Shojin. So I'd really like to get a tier. I have not gotten a single... Oh, no, I got 1 tier. I was going to say I haven't gotten a tier, but I did make the Hand of Justice. Hopefully I can get another tier, and then I can make Spear of Shojin. And that's because Karthus has really high mana costs. We also had a hack effect take place. Everybody got a golden egg. It's going to take 9 rounds for that to hatch, and this one actually hatches in the opposite direction from how the normal golden egg hatches. Normally the golden egg will hatch faster if you win rounds. With this one, it'll hatch faster if you lose rounds. So, okay. I guess that's good in the sense that if I lose rounds, it'll hatch faster, and if I win rounds, then I'll just keep my win streak intact and keep going from there. But now I do need to make my transition. I'm going to have to sell my headliner here. Oh, we got our last augments. You can see there's the black market. These are augments from previous sets. I don't really like any of these. Titanic Strength maybe, but I'm not playing a Bruiser's board. I don't think it's that. It's definitely not Greater Moonlight. I don't like Call to Chaos. I'll just take Cybernetic Bulk. Your champion's holding an item, gain extra health. And that seems pretty good to me because this is obviously like a loot-tastic lobby. So that means there's going to be a lot of items to play around with in this lobby. All right, so I sold the headliner. Now I can get new headliners. Again, I'm looking for a Pentakill something. There's an Alawi. I will play that. Okay, we'll put that on the board. Sure, why not? And now we're going to keep rolling. There's a Karthus. All right, going to keep... And then I get a Pentakill Karthus as well. I was like, whoa, okay. Okay, then. So now I have 6 Karthuses, and I was like, I am very content to have that. So I did go down to 50 gold. But I still have 12 rerolls I haven't used yet. Now, part of the reason why I had to spend so much gold is it did cost 12 gold to purchase that Karthus, but I'm already at 6 Karthuses here. I had a 2-star Karthus already, and then I had the headliner pop up in my shop. So it takes me to 6 Karthuses already, and I still have all these rerolls. So now the goal of my game becomes, I think I can hit 3-star Karthus. It's going to be difficult for me not to hit 3-star Karthus. As long as I manage my economy and manage my health, I should be able to get there. And by the way, I still win this round. But I want to continue using these free rerolls right now because I do want to build out the rest of my board. All right, so there's 2-star Olaf. We still have stuff that shouldn't be on the board like the Nico, so I'm going to continue rolling. I don't want to go below 50 gold, but I am going to continue rolling here. All right, I've seen so many Aries. It's so ridiculous. I keep seeing all these Aries. All right, now there's a Kali. That's great. So we'll take the Lilia off the board. Now we can get the Akali on there, and now I need to move items. We're going to move the Pentakill emblem back to the Akali. We're going to move the Warmogs up to Mordekaiser. Probably should have put that on the Alawi, to be perfectly honest. And now we're going to move the Hand of Justice and the Bloodthirster over to Akali as well. And just like that, she's going to be a very, very strong carry for my board. Now, the downside is that does leave Karthus without any items. So again, I really do need to focus on getting some Karthus items here. But I mean, that Akali is going to be really nice. Akali also pairs very well with the Karthus because Akali will dash around getting targets low. She tends to like to live in the back lines. And then a Karthus will damage the lowest health targets with his ultimate. So if Akali can get someone low, one of Akali's biggest weaknesses is she often gets targets low but doesn't finish them off because then she charges to some other part of the map. But excuse me, when working together with Karthus, that's not a problem. Akali gets them low, dashes away. Karthus pops in and finishes them off with his ultimate. So they have some nice synergy there. And of course, they're both executioners, which means that their abilities can crit. They don't need Infinity Edge or Jeweled Gauntlet. Their abilities can innately crit. And yeah, like I said, they work together really well. I was hoping that tier would stick around. The tier did not stick around. So I was like, all right, I really did want to make Shojin for Karthus, but that's not an option. So I've got this rod. Let's just go ahead and we'll make the death cap for Karthus. I could also, oh, by the way, there's 2-star Akali, so that's super nice. And as soon as this happens, I think I was like, all right, well, I think I'm just going to go level 9 from here, I think. Because what do I really have to roll for? Oh, I'm going to make that substitution, put the Blitz in. Okay, no, I guess I was looking for a Viego. That's right, I was looking for a Viego here. All right, we'll put in the Poppy temporarily. I am trying to find Viego. That's right, I was looking for just one Viego here. I wanted to have him on my board, and there we go. There's Viego. So we'll play over something, play that over the Poppy that I don't actually need for my board. But I do think did I end up rolling? I can't remember if I rolled for 2-star Viego here or if I just looked to go straight to level 9. But there's really not much need to stick around here much longer. I have a 2-star Akali, I have a 2-star Karthus, I found a Viego, and I do need to get items for Viego and items for Karthus. So yeah, I think I kind of have most of what I need here. Boom, there goes the Karthus ult, hitting that Lucian. I'm still winning these rounds relatively easily here. I'm actually on a 14-match winning streak, which is just wild. One issue is I am on 2 out of 3 edgelords, so it would not be bad to get another edgelord. I started thinking maybe I should put like a Keen on my board so I can get edgelord trait in there. By the way, I'm on 6 Kales as well, so I might as well pick that up. Did I end up rolling here a little bit longer? I can't remember, or if I think maybe this is where I just was like, let's screw it. Let's just go to level 9 here. In terms of what all of the abilities do, I might as well read the formal ability description for Karthus, just because he's, as I said, not one of the more popular champs. All right, he has a passive ability. He gains ability power based on his critical strike chance. He actually increases his AP over the course of the fight. Every time he ults, he deals more damage on the next ult. Active, deal magic damage to the 4 lowest health enemies, always critically striking if possible. Since we have Executioner trait in play, that means he always will crit. Gain 30 AP for the rest of combat. So every time he ults, he deals more damage the next time he ults. And by the way, boom, there goes Misfortune in the back lines. So again, Karthus also a scaling champ. You need to make sure you have strong front line. It's actually one of my weaknesses. My front line is not that great. I have good damage capacity. Front line, not so great. Also, this person with the Garen with the Innervating Locket is pretty hilarious. The Garen doesn't really do that much damage, but he has an insane amount of healing. The good news is, again, Karthus scales up over these fights. He's going to keep getting more and more AP every time he ults, and we are able to finish him off. It's a good thing that wasn't a 3-star Garen. They actually do have the 3-star Garen on the bench. They had 6 Garens on their bench and a 2-star on the board, so that'll combine, I think, on the next round. But I didn't have to face it that time, and hey, I managed to keep my win streak intact again. And I'm over 80 gold. That means I get 3 additional rerolls every round. So we're just going to look to go level 9 here. Again, I do expect to lose some of these rounds, but clearly this game's going to go on for a little while because I have 100 health and this other player has 97 health. So it's pretty clear that the game's not going to end in like the immediate future. So again, we're going to take our time. We're going to try to go up to 9, and then we're going to try to slow roll for a 3-star Karthus and try to hit some of these other units. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what we can pull. Again, I desperately wanted a tier. There was no tier, which was disappointing. So now I'm trying to think about what I can do with these items that are left over. I think if I were to do this again, I could have maybe made an Edge of Night for the Viego. That was a possibility here, because I could have taken that Chain Vest and then looked to make something. Instead, I take the Rod, which is maybe not the correct choice here. So I'm going to go ahead and make Gnasher's Tooth for Karthus, and then I'm going to make a Bloodthirster for Viego, which is not bad. Bloodthirster, Edge of Night are his 2 core items. But then I do have the leftover Rod that I don't really have much use for. But I guess it helps Karthus for the time being until I can find another item for Karthus. I guess that works. So this fight's closer. I'm hoping I can finish off the backlines. If I could kill that Jhin, I can win this fight. But, all that's left, we did kill the Jhin. All that's left, though, is a very low health Karthus and a very low health Akali. Boom, there we go. I actually thought I was going to lose that round. But nope, I did manage to clutch it out. And again, we're going to keep pushing to level 9, 16 match win streak. Again, I keep expecting to lose these rounds, but for the time being, my board is still hanging in there. And I'm up to 18 rerolls that are now banked, which I can use on level 9. So I was like, okay. I also, sometime around here, I start to realize, hey, wait a minute. You know what? I have Cybernetic Bulk, which means any unit I put an item on gains 500 HP. So that Tactician's Crown, or whatever it's called, that's just sitting on KL doing nothing, that should be on a frontliner, because that's going to give 500 health to whoever I put it on. And that Rod that's just sitting on Karthus, that should also be on a frontliner. I do realize that eventually, but I think it takes another round or two before I actually figure that out. Okay, this person is the other person who's on high HP, and they have a punk board. They have a bunch of 3 stars, and their board has been very strong throughout the game, largely because they put a Radiant Giant Slayer on the Jinx, is the most important unit. There is one problem with their board, though, and that's because punk boards tend not to cap out that high. By the way, can we kill the Jinx? Looks like we got her. Do we have enough left to finish off the rest of the board? I don't think so. So I am going to lose this round, and my win streak's finally going to come to an end. But punk boards tend not to cap out that high because they're playing a lot of 1 and 2 cost units overall. I mean, it's not that they can't win lobbies, but in a lobby like this that's triple prismatic plus hacks, they just are not likely to cap out as high as some of the other boards. So long term, oh, by the way, I'm actually going to get the golden egg to hatch because I lost that round. So what are we going to get? We're going to get some Reforgers, and we get a Will Breaker. This is the Radiant version of the Guard Breaker. I was like, yeah, I mean, this is fine on Karthus. I'm okay with this. It's going to give him some, it gives him a whole big grab bag of different stats, but it's going to give him some attack speed. It's going to give him extra damage if he hits a shield. Karthus is pretty likely to hit a shield at some point in these combats. And again, we're going to move these items to our frontliners so that they get the 500 additional HP. And I'm real close to hitting level 9. I believe that I'm clear to look to go probably to level 9 next round. The lobby is starting to constrict. This is the other player that I'm probably most concerned about, this person, Guru9. They have done a board that's just been winning most of the lobbies in here in the set revival, and that is go to level 9 or level 10, and you just play a whole bunch of 4 and 5 cost units, and the board's just really, really strong. You can see this person almost died before they made it there. They're on 14 HP. They maybe can survive one more loss, but they're quite likely to be out on another loss, but they kind of put the board together. And, you know, it's a standard thing. 4 big shot with Ezreal, Misfortune, and Jhin. One of them being a big shot headliner. Then you play Alawi and Set for Bruiser frontline. You play Yorick and Thresh for Guardian frontline. And then you have like Lucian plus Kate for 2 rapid fire. It's 2 rapid fire, 4 big shot. And then if you can get to level 10, like you throw in Bard for 3 Jazz. It's a very, very standard board. All right, I am able to take a Yorick off that carousel. I'm quite happy with that. Now I'm going to roll here and see what I can find. Okay, there we go. We're going to hit the 2-star Viego, and we'll definitely put the Yorick on the board. We'll put the Sterix on Viego, which is a pretty good item on him. I still have 21 rerolls, so I'm going to be working my way through them at the moment. And it is time to use these, because like I do need to actually hit these units. And I'll pick up any extra copy of my 4 costs here. Now, this does mean I'm not going to be getting more rerolls, but I still have 18 rerolls saved up. I don't think that I really need to save up more. I don't think I need to stay over 80 gold to try to get more rerolls. There is a point at which you actually just have to use the rerolls, and I think I'm kind of at that point right now. By the way, Viego got off a great ult. This is like a disco board, and the big weakness of disco boards is they have to clump up together to get the value of the disco ball healing and attack speed. So this board had to clump up, and Viego was just able to hit a big clump. By the way, this Zac with the Radiant Warmogs is super annoying, but eventually we are going to kill this unit. Doesn't really have much damage, just bounces around being annoying. Yeah, Viego did a lot of damage in that fight. All right, there's another Karthus. There's 7 Karthuses. So I'm just going to try to stay over 50 gold. There's another Viego, and we're going to keep looking here. Again, I want to stay over 50, but I'm going to use my rerolls. By the way, I'm on like a ton of Kales as well here. And there's an Alawi 2-star. That's a pretty big hit for my board. So I'll stop here to stay over 50 gold. Again, I'm not getting more free rerolls, but I'm saving my actual income by staying over the 50 gold. So as I said, I'm pretty happy with my board here. I've 2-starred just about everything except the Yorick. I am on, how many Kales? I have 7 Kales. So I'm actually close to Kale 3-star too. Although Kale is not that important for my board. I mean, she's just back there as a trait bot. But, you know, if I can hit her, I might as well. All right, this is the Punk board again. The question was like, am I strong enough to beat this board right now? I'm not exactly sure. I need to kill the Jinx. The Jinx has all that healing off of the Gunblade and then the Radiant, the Giant Slayer. But boom, Karthus just takes it down because, of course, Karthus has the Radiant Guard Breaker back there. And yes, Karthus is definitely hitting some shields to take advantage of that. Now, can Karthus and Akali kill the rest of the team? It's mostly tanks here. Does Karthus have the damage to finish them off? Looks like it. Can he kill Pantheon? Pantheon's still hitting the Alawi tentacles. Okay, I'll take that. I'll take that. That person's on 8 Pantheon, so they're getting pretty close to finishing that off. Now, I noticed that there's a Kayn in my shop, and I was like, you know what? I'll go ahead and play the Kayn. Now, this does lose... Oh, by the way, there's another Kale. So I was like, all right, 8 Kales. Okay, I'll pick that up. By the way, I'm not sure why I'm rolling here because I'll get another free reroll if I stay over the 60 gold threshold. So I really should have just stayed over 60 gold threshold. I would have gotten one more free reroll there. So that's a little bit unnecessary. But I think I just saw myself as being over 50 gold, which is normally when you're free to roll. And just went ahead and rolled there. So now I've got 2 out of 3 Kayns. And I'm now up to 8 Karthuses. I'm pretty close on the Karthus. Just need the one more. There's an Akali, though. I want to pick up the Akalis. I was like, I got to drop something. All right, I'll start dropping the Kales. Because I got to drop something. And there's another Yorick. So I was like, all right. I got to clear out the bench space. So it looks like I'm not actually going to hit the Kale for better or for worse. Again, I'm rolling here. There's another Akali. And can we hit something else here? There's the Yorick. Okay, let's go ahead and grab the orb and pull an item. And I was like, okay, Thief's Glove sounds great. We'll go ahead and put the Thief's Glove on Yorick. By the way, he rolled really good items on his Thief's Glove this round. He ended up, what is he rolled? What is it? A Gargoyle Stoneplate and a Sunfire Cape. By the way, I don't have heal cuts on my board. That is also a bit of a weakness on my setup again. So what am I up to? I'm up to 5 Viegos, 5 Akalis, and 8 Karthuses. So the other players really should be looking to take Karthuses out of the pool so that to try and stop me from hitting Karthus 3-star. Are they doing that? Not really. So yeah, and you know, this board I beat the last time we were up against it, but I think they hit another 3-star. They hit a Mumu 3-star, and that was enough to tip them into winning that round. And that other player who's got the 5-cost grab bag is not lost in a while. All right, so again, I'm slow rolling here. Rolling. Again, I'm 1 Karthus off Karthus 3-star. Now I'm on 6 Viegos, 6 Akalis. So I was like, all right, come on. All right. And I decided I just wanted to hit this and started rolling down. I was like, I just need 1 Karthus. I probably should have been patient and stayed over the 50 gold and just waited. I'm like, can I just hit the last Karthus? Can I hit this unit? Come on. I'm rolling so much gold. There's still 4 Karthuses in the pot. I have 8 and there's 12 Karthuses in the set revival. So that was pretty unlucky to roll all that gold and still not hit the Karthus. The reason why I was starting to do this, I saw after I lost that round to the Punk player, I was like, I know I'm going to lose to the other player, this person who's got like the standard cap late game board. I was like, I know I lose to this board. So at this point, I lose to both boards. And that's the signal that it's time to start rolling for the 3-star Karthus because I lose to both of these boards. I don't want to run my health down so low that like one unlucky round knocks me out of the game. So that's why I started getting more aggressive there. But wow, I rolled pretty badly. But there we go. Oh my goodness. Thank God. Okay, there's the Karthus. Had a bit of a heart attack moment there. Considering how many Karthuses were still in the pool, I really probably should have hit at some point there. Considering how much I rolled, I actually did not have great luck hitting the Karthus. But it did show up eventually, and now I'm on 7 Akalis, 7 Viegos. So now I'm going to try to build my economy back up again and then look to try to see if I can 3-star one of them as well. Obviously, hitting the 3-star Karthus is a just massive swing. He's a 4-cost unit. It's intended to be like a win the lobby item. His damage more than doubles. It goes from 240% to 540%, so it goes up by like 2.5. And he also hits 6 targets instead of 4. Normally, Karthus hits 4 targets. He goes up to hitting 6 targets. Again, Karthus always hits the lowest HP targets, always. So this is going to make him really, really good at sniping backline because what units have the most health? Tanks. So he's much less likely to hit tanks. He's going to ult, and then he's going to hit the back. He did 24,000 damage in that fight. So I was able to... And then that player, by the way, just surrenders and quits the lobby. So I was like, okay. So they would not have been out. They could have probably survived another round, but I think they realized they couldn't beat either of the other boards, and they had the lowest health, so they just decided to surrender and get the heck out of there. On this carousel, I was hoping there might be a Pentakill emblem. I could actually play 10 Pentakill if there's a Pentakill emblem, but I did sell the Olaf, and I have to get to level 10. I don't really have the econ for that. So I will go ahead and I was like, I'll take this Bruiser emblem. We'll put it on the Blitzcrank. Now I should have done this in the opposite order. We'll put the Rod on the Cane, and then that's going to give him 500 HP, and then I'll also put the emblem on Blitz, and that's going to give him the 500 HP. So I find another Akali. I'm on 8 Akalis, 7 Viegos, but this other team is also only on 14 HP. They are not close to 3-starring anything. They just have lots and lots of 4 and 5 cost units. So if I can win this round, I can probably get them out of the lobby. They have an insanely tanky Alawi back there, a Radiant version of... What's that item called? I'm blanking on that item right now. And a Warmogs and a Gargoyle Stoneplate. So that unit takes absolutely forever to die, but it doesn't really matter because we have backline access. The Karthus is going to go ahead and kill the whole backline together with Akali and Viego, and that's going to be enough to wrap this up for a first place finish. Again, obviously, if you look at this, you're going to say, oh, cool, 3-star Karthus. That's why you won the game. But, I mean, the reason why I won this game was not even so much the Karthus. It was having such a good early game that really allowed me to win this. The fact that I was able to bank so many rerolls. I mean, I probably had like 30, 35 free rerolls from invested. The fact that I was able to win, like the first 12, 13 rounds of the game and bank all those rerolls, that was what actually won me the game. After that, it was just like crossing off the T's and dotting the I's. So anyway, hope you enjoyed this. Once again, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Until next time, hope everybody's having a great week. Take care, folks, and I will see you again soon.